mynews.studio.
Today marks a quiet but significant record. 8 years have passed without any country carrying out an explosive nuclear weapons test. What exactly has kept this uneasy peace in place?
And just to ground us, today is January 30th, 2026. Let's dig into this. The last explosive nuclear test was North Korea's, back in 2017. That means this is the longest period without a test since 1945. Does this really shift global security, or is it more of a symbolic pause?
It's definitely more than just a gesture. This pause comes from decades of international work, especially since the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, or CTBT, opened for signatures back in 1996. Now, 178 nations have ratified it. That's not just a formality. It's set a norm, a near global taboo against explosive nuclear testing.
But the treaty itself isn't fully in force, right? Some countries, like the US and China, have signed, but not all have ratified. So why have countries been sticking to this test-free era anyway?
There are two main reasons. First, public perception. Back in the early Cold War, nuclear testing was routine, even seen as patriotic. But after decades of fallout and studies on health and the environment, that changed. Today, nuclear testing is widely seen as unacceptable. Would any major power really want to risk that kind of backlash?
So, the stigma, the public opposition, has turned into a kind of diplomatic pressure.
Exactly. Breaking this 8-year streak would mark a country as a rogue actor. That's a real deterrent, even for states that might be under military or political strain.
What about the technical side? Countries still maintain large nuclear arsenals. How do they keep confidence in their weapons without actual test explosions?
That's where technology steps in. The Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty Organization, the CTBTO, runs a worldwide monitoring system. Seismic, hydroacoustic, even satellites. They can spot any secret nuclear explosion. Plus, major countries use high-tech simulations, subcritical tests, and powerful computing. These stockpile stewardship programs, especially in the US, let scientists test weapon parts right up to the edge without triggering a nuclear blast.
So, maintaining nuclear arsenals no longer depends on full-scale testing? That's a pretty significant shift.
That's right. And it's not only about deterrence. These advances also make it easier for countries to comply with the CTBT, even if it isn't legally binding for everyone.
Still, here's the concern. How stable is this peace? Some major arms control treaties are expiring. Others are under stress. With tensions rising, US-China, Russia-West, what would strengthen the nuclear test ban?
There are 3 steps. First, getting the CTBT to enter fully into force, which means securing ratification from the remaining holdouts. Second, passing laws at the national level, like the U.S. Restraint Act, that would make testing illegal domestically. Third, renewed diplomatic efforts. That's not just about more signatures, but about making the shared benefits of the test ban clear to all sides.
So the real challenge is moving from countries choosing restraint, something that could change overnight, to a system that's legally enforceable. Is that realistic right now?
It's tough, but not out of reach. The longer this test-free period continues, the more it becomes the default. But history reminds us, norms can break if they're not backed up by law and diplomacy. The risk isn't just new tests, but the start of another arms race.
And that's why this story matters. Nuclear weapons remain the most severe threat we face. This test-free period is a milestone, but it isn't the finish line.
We've witnessed what international cooperation can achieve, but also how easily it can be shaken. To avoid a return to regular nuclear testing, ongoing effort, public awareness, and legal action are all needed.
So, to sum up, we're in the longest nuclear test-free stretch since 1945, thanks to treaties, technology, and public opinion. But the future of this pause depends on renewed diplomacy and making the test ban legally binding.
Thank you for listening. The world may be quieter on nuclear testing, but the conversation about peace and security is as urgent as ever.
Thanks for joining us. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. Explore it now for free.